Hey everyone, Julia here, and for those that don't know me, I'm here to teach balance and restore the negative and the positive balances. Okay, so I talk a lot about the mental health during a spiritual awakening, and I'm going to hop right into the video. Okay, so today is going to be the last video of the 3 playlists that I've created, and this one is going to be the intro to what I'm going to be talking about. So compassion. How do they teach it? What is it? And how do we balance it between tolerance and forgiveness? If you're a person who struggles with compassion or struggles with empathy or struggles with sympathy, this video isn't for you. I'll talk about it in another video. Brief description of the link that's down below if you care to explore this topic more is you can gain compassion through the intention of caring. Okay, so in your interactions day to day, have caring intentions and then follow it up with behaviors. So you know that your friend or your girlfriend, boyfriend, like a chilled macchiato. So you go and get that for them because you care about them, and then you give that drink to them. So that would be caring behaviors. Or if they're sleeping and you notice that you're being a little loud, maybe try being quieter, caring intentions, right? Changing behaviors. So let's go into what compassion is according to the internet. So compassion, they talk about being mindful. And compassion is sympathy, pity, and concern or misfortune of others. Okay? To suffer together is another definition. And 5 elements of compassion, according to the internet, would be generosity, hospitality, objectivity, sensitivity, and tolerance. 4 pillars: compassion, empathy, forgiveness, and sympathy. The values of compassion is kindness and helpful caring definition. I'm going to call this compassion 2.0, and we're going to talk about transmuting suffering. Okay? People who already have the skill of empathy, this video is for you. Okay. So we went over the definition, the 5 elements of compassion, 4 pillars, and the values of compassion. So according to psychology, compassion is the feeling that arises when you are confronted with another's suffering and feel motivated to relieve that suffering. There's different approaches to relieving suffering. So there's people pleasing, and then there is transmuting. Okay? I would definitely suggest that before you start transmuting anyone else's suffering or attempting to transmute anyone else's suffering, start by transmuting your own suffering. This is a good ground to start on as it's neutral, and the only person that is affected would be you. So transmute the suffering you currently have. You don't want to add to anyone else's, you don't want to add to your own, because that just makes things so much more complicated. Okay. And in my previous videos, I talk about how are you being mindful to yourself? Because don't be mindful in regards to your situation that you're really upset with. How you're going to be able to release that situation is by being accountable for your part, right? Okay, so this is all about the narrative, flipping the narrative, putting the power back in your hands. Confronting your own suffering with a mindful awareness. So mindfulness is not about telling yourself not to think about what's bugging you. Mindfulness is not about being kind always to yourself, okay? So mindfulness is about being mindful of the way you perceive the bad, okay? Does that make sense? So, for instance, I'm going to be super vulnerable with you here, okay? I'm not perfect by any means. When I was working at a job one time, and there was a woman that I was working with. Her boyfriend who got me the job there, little did I know, was dating her, because a while back, not while I was working there, but like a while before I started working there, I had hooked up with him, and I didn't know that they were together when I started the job, which didn't bug me. Like, I don't care. But the thing that made it weird was that he told me not to tell her anything. And I found that so strange and odd, because if they weren't together, then what would it matter? You know? And it's not like I had any intention of being with this person or had any interest at all. It just, so anyway, so I didn't say anything at the beginning, and I told this person, if you don't tell her, I'm going to. But then a whole year and a half goes by, and he still hasn't talked to her and is literally begging me not to say anything. And it felt wrong in my heart. That whole year and a half felt wrong in my heart. So when I decided to tell her, of course, I even had the opportunity, okay, the opportunity to tell her right off the bat. And I chose to not say anything because I figured he was going to be a man and do the right thing. However, clearly not. So, honesty, she didn't deserve to be lied to in any which way of the sense, and it shouldn't even matter. Like, we're all adults here, you know? So, anyway, moving on. I, being compassionate towards myself, I'm not being mindful that what I did was in the right. Okay. I'm not telling myself what I did was okay, because it wasn't okay. However, I am being mindful about the way that I am thinking about my behaviors. As in, I'm not going to shun myself. I'm not going to hate myself for it. However, I am going to be very much accountable to myself for what I chose to do. Right. So, mindfulness is about being mindful about forgiving yourself for your behaviors. And then forgiveness only comes with changing behaviors. If you change the behavior, you're okay. Okay. Behaviors can change, experiences cannot. Okay. So, to put it into brief perspective, you make me feel XYZ, and it makes you feel or makes you react ABC. So, before you start reacting to their reaction, put into your perspective, ask yourself one question. If you're insulted or if you're reacting in such a way because I said XYZ, what is the attachment to ABC? Or what is it? Yeah, what is the attachment to XYZ that is projecting in this way? We have to remember that when someone emotionally triggers us, it is a mirror of something within us. And I'm not saying that you're exactly like that person. What I'm saying is, deep down inside of you, there's something that is emotionally triggering you that you're defensive about. And if you're defensive, it means you have something to integrate. Okay? There's nothing wrong with looking bad. There's nothing, because you don't really look bad if you're unaware. If you, once it brought into your awareness, if you continue with the same behaviors, then yes, you would look bad, because you're okay with that. You're okay with showing up for yourself. You're okay with showing up for others like that. And if you truly want to become and come into balance, balance means you take the bad with the good and the good with the bad, right? Okay. Let's go into psychology. So, the 5 components. This is going to be in the article that I have linked below. And very, very, very great article. It also goes more in depth about the gaining the skill of compassion. Okay, if you lack empathy, this is your journey that you can take. There's a lot of different studies in it, and it's a really good article. I suggest reading it if you like psychology anyway. Good. Okay, anyway. 5 components. Recognition of suffering. I've made this mistake before. If someone doesn't see that what they're doing is suffering, stop wasting your time and move on. Okay? You can plant the seed of showing them another perspective, but don't fight with them about it. Okay? Just plant that seed, go on your mosey on way, and take care of yourself. This is where boundaries come into place. Okay? So understanding is universal. So the lessons you're learning, the way we get there is different. However, The ultimate lesson that's learned is universal. Sympathy, empathy, sympathy, empathy, and concern. We're going to refer to them as emotional resonance. Okay. The fourth one would be tolerating the distress. So even grabbing the emotional balls by the hand, okay, and instead of projecting them away from you, holding them and seeing how it resonates within you. So life is a big game of emotional ping pong. We are always projecting and deflecting, right? It's uncomfortable to feel certain emotions, but we're human. That's why we get to come here. We get to experience this plethora of experience and emotions attached to those experiences so that we can become whole and balance ourselves. It's truly uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. And it's so worth it. So worth it. And then you can transfer that knowledge. You get to pass that down. You get to show others. You get to be that light that people desire to be around. It's great. And then the last one would be motivated to act on the distress. So motivated to find a better way of life. If you don't have suffering, there is no need to explore more. The only way that people change is when the suffering either outweighs the effort to change, okay? But if the effort outweighs the suffering, people aren't going to change. Simple as that. Unless you're on like this crazy journey where you just love psychology and it's your passion, as me. I mean, I did go through a lot of suffering. However, I was consciously aware of everything that was going on. It's so strange to know that you're completely in control of your life and you choose to be in situations that you're in. And the only person that you hold accountable is yourself. It's very interesting, very good. I mean, you get to look at things very objectively, and you kind of detach from the emotional side of things, which I am now being blessed to experience. So even when I'm sad, I feel blessed, you know? So those are the 5 components of compassion. Now I want to talk about finding your balance, okay? The balance between forgiveness and tolerance, okay? The balance between forgiveness and tolerance is a tricky one. When do you continue to give somebody another chance? And when do you start to understand that this person doesn't respect the way that you feel, so you need to just love them through detaching? If you're in a relationship, loving through detachment is a whole nother video. Um, yeah. So boundaries is going to be one. Having boundaries for yourself in the way that you feel in the present moment. And standards. What standard do you hold for yourself? I mean, I truly believe that treat other people the way you want to be treated. And that is a good standard to hold. So the way that you approach people, okay? And I mean, I'm not talking about people that are like you. I'm talking about all people, okay? All people. People who are homeless, people who have addictions, people who have yada, 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 yada. How do I treat these people? Okay? Actually, I would start there. How do you treat different people with different dynamics in life? How do you treat them? And then ask yourself, would I like to be treated that way? When you look at yourself and the way you approach people, if you're kind of put off by that, then that's a really good place to start. Okay, I want you to take the stereotype out of all of those associations for a minute, and I want you to say, how do I believe these people should treat me? Okay, as in your standards. Okay, your standards. And remember, like everyone, no matter what they're going through, is capable of treating you that way because you teach people how to treat you. You truly do. You teach people how to treat you. It's true. Okay. And that's how you balance tolerance with forgiveness. If those examples don't resonate with you guys, please comment below. I'm more than willing to create a video and touch on the topics that resonate with you. I can do it over a live, whichever it is. Just let me know. Comment down below, like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And see you on the next one.